Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Our listener, come back again at Let's Talk About Data show with myself, Lydia Ray, Senior Analytics Solution Architect at AWS. I'm based in the UK. At the moment, I live in Liverpool. It's sunny a little bit, but definitely winter is coming. Um, Good to see everyone. And I have two guests here, my colleague. One is my colleague who is hosting also Let's Talk About Data shows, but I will let them introduce themselves before we get into the topic. Prasad, Fetrival, whoever want to
Yeah,
start first.
I'll go first.
Yep.
Hello everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are viewing this show. I'm Vetrivel. I'm working as a senior database solutions architect, and I'm with Amazon for almost 4.5 years. I'm based in Dublin, and I work with the customers who are working with or migrating their database workloads from on-prem to AWS cloud, or running their database workloads in the AWS cloud, working with them to optimize and assist them on any issues, being a technical advisor for them. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Vetri. Hi, everyone. This is Prasad Matkar. I'm a database specialist solutions architect at AWS, and I help customers in their journey to the cloud. I'm also one of the hosts of the show. So thanks for joining us today. Yep.
Okay, everyone, just to highlight, like we have Tony as well, one of the hosts at the moment. He is behind the scenes looking after the chats, both in Twitch and also YouTube. And also, of course, we have our best producer, Jeff, behind the scene as well. Make sure all the mic, all the camera is good. If anything goes wrong, you're going to ping us, say, like, maybe I unmute myself or anything could happen, right? Okay, let's back to the topic. If last week we talked about or running Oracle database on AWS and how you managing monitoring on all those things, and this week or now we're going to talk about how it's actually if you have Oracle database, particularly in RDS. If you're not familiar with RDS, is relational database service, part offering of AWS native databases. When you run Oracle, how you can integrate with other services, particularly your data warehouse. I come from analytic backgrounds, and these two experts come from database background. We're gonna merge our knowledge together to help you understand like how you move data with in an easy way and without you worrying the maintenance and so on. But before we get started, some people may be familiar with zero-ETL, but some not. So Prasad Fetrival, can you explain to us what exactly means zero-ETL?
Yeah, I can take that, but I would like to give some information before talking about what is zero-ETL. So I feel that it will be easy for to understand, right? So in general, for example, whenever we are configuring the real-time analytics, where the purpose of it to drive the business and also to enhance the, let's say, the operational efficiency of the organization, and also to maintain the competitions in the market, right? To perform the real-time analytics, we need to do certain steps, and there are certain things involved, like for example extraction of data and
Yeah.
transform the data and load it like the, we'll call it as ETL pipeline. And it is also the combination of combining the data, and also it has to clean the data and it has to normalize it, where it needs to fetch the data from various sources and also put it together in a place to perform all the analytic tasks, and also to use it with the AI or use it with the machine learning workloads. So it is often, we can say it's a time consuming process, and also it's a complex thing where as multiple stages are involved. Now I'll come to the zero ETL part. As we can say we are simplifying all these tasks which I have mentioned now in a fully managed integration way in AWS, right? And all
Yeah.
these tasks, starting from extract, transformation, and loading it, we are making it in a single step by utilizing this zero ETL integration. And
Uh,
this one is available for, let's say, including MySQL, RDS MySQL, and RDS PostgreSQL, and RDS Oracle, where you can integrate it with Amazon Redshift. You can fetch the data from your source, either RDS MySQL, PostgreSQL, or Oracle, and then put it near real time replication into the Amazon Redshift, and from there you can use the data for your analytic purpose. Let's say build a dashboard or integrate it with the other AIML services, and you can focus on the business, right? So
Do
on
we?
the, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Petripol. Do we have to writing the code? I mean, for interest of the audience, do we have to write the code in code pipeline in there or something like that to have the zero ETL up and running?
So Lydia, just a little bit of a background. I've been an Oracle DBA all my life. We've seen patterns where, like what we mentioned, uh, pipelines which have been written by the developers to move
Yeah.
online data from your OLTP or the online sources onto
Yeah.
the warehouse for reporting. So that involves for the data engineer specifically writing scripts to extract, to transform, and then load the data, and having to maintain those pipelines as well. With the zero ETL, I mean, all of this is taken care for you by integrating it with the source and the target.
Yeah.
In case if you want to include, exclude, you want to you want to include a certain pattern or certain tables, those are the flexibilities that you get, and we'll be talking um, about the various options that are part of the zero ETL when we set it up. But as far as creating the pipeline and managing it is concerned, that's not needed. It's all as a part of the ETL integration. That's all set up whilst we go through the process.
Yeah. And then is it because the assumption is like if you like something reading your databases, it means like you have that IO constraints. Is it how's the performance? Is it going to impact your transactional databases or impact the data warehouse? How it actually work under the hood?
Yeah, it all depends on like when we do the performance benchmarking, we will do that based on our requirement, and also it depending upon how intensive our source, whether it is latency sensitive or how big the application transactions are happening in the source. And because in the backend, since it's a near real time, it does the CDC and change data captures and then replicates it to the target. So definitely there will be something related to the performance, but it we will be finding out when we are doing it in the performance benchmarking and when we do the integration.
Okay. I'll pause it a little bit just to check the chat. We have Jeff I mentioned before, and also Tony, which is standby for the Twitch and also in YouTube. And we have our regular listener, Data Guy 123. Looking forward for the show. Moving data between databases can be painful, exactly. And Tony share some resources around zero ETL, so you can have a look the full resources about zero ETL. And for anyone who's new or who is listener for us for a long time, please put in the chat. Tell us where you are based, and then how is the weather and what you're looking for into the show. Okay, back to the zero ETL. You mentioned like near real time analytics, right? How near real time it will be? Is it second, minute, or hour? People debating what is near real time, but like what is the limits that we can push zero ETL?
So it is instantaneous. It's in near real time. So if you have a lot of transactions or changes on your source, they are replicated in near real time in seconds, not in hours, like from your
Okay.
source to the target. And so they are readily available on your target where you can use them for reporting as well. Again, this all also depends upon how busy the source is, because it's going to read the delta data or the change data that is from your source and then
Yeah.
replicate it onto the target. So there are various factors, but to your question, it's in seconds rather than hours.
Okay. So talking about seconds, are they writing the storage level, or it's they because I assume if you it's easy if you just insert new data, right? It will know like which one is the new data. But how about updates? Is it reading in the storage level? Is it reading the bin log level, or how to know like this is the database updating this thing? So as this still count as a new data, and then I want to replicate to the Redshift, for example. Is it reading in the bin log or is it reading in the storage
Uh, so
itself?
so there are couple of things. first there's an initial data copy, which is what we call a
No,
seeding,
okay.
which is the one-time data copy. So, for example, if you have 10 records in your data set and then you
Yeah.
start the zero ETL, it's going to one-time copy the data over from your source to the target, and that's copied at the storage. After that, any new inserts or any new fresh updates inserts, it's going to read off your transaction logs and then replicate onto the target in the form of the CDC replication.
Okay, that makes sense. We get a couple of questions. UK data guy underscore 123 UK for me and nice and sunny. Yes, and where I live as well at the moment, nice and sunny up north. Hi everyone from Erie underscore edits. Watching from LA currently morning at 66 Fahrenheit, but it get hotter. Okay, is our regular audience as well. And then there is one from David, as underscore David, I assume is how you pronounce it. Hello, do you still recommend to use Pentaho data integration for ETL task? This is it relevant for Zulaitan? You can answer it, Prasad, or
Uh, so I mean, there are different tools that are available. I think the one that he's mentioned out here, like I think it's a replication tool or an ETL tool to extract from the source and load it. And now, as far as the advantage of using the zero ETL is you don't have to maintain any sort of pipelines. All of this is wise to configure it. You just need to give the source and the destination, and the pipeline is built for you. Uh, Again, I haven't worked on the Pentaho, so I'll not be able to exactly comment on it. What I can say is, with the zero ETL, like I mentioned, you just have to point it to the source, to the target, and depending on the transformations, you can have those rules as an include and an exclude, and the data would be replicated. So, yeah, that's what I would want to say.
On top of that, it's also native AWS service,
Yeah.
which you are using to integrate both source and target from AWS.
yeah. So I summarize what Prasad just mentioned. Like, okay, we're not too familiar with the Pentaho as an integration tool itself. We know about it, but the idea with the zero ETL here, it means like now you can synchronize, basically keep the data between the OLTP databases and your data warehouse in sync, and like you say, like near real time. We can argue what is near real time, seconds or like a minute. But if you start thinking about we want stream of data, then it's completely different solution. We're gonna talk about Fling. We talk about like Kafka. Okay. Let me check. Data guy 123. Nice. I'm sure it will warm up there. Yes, it is still warm. Who's what just joined? And extrinsic underscore 09. Did I miss something? No, you're not miss. We just talking about the beginning of zero ETL, why we use that, what is that. So you not miss much. Don't worry about it. And if you want to watch the first 13 minutes, we will always have the on demand. So you can revisit back. Okay, Tony already explained. Thank you. Data guys 123. Yes, it's supposed to get 85 Fahrenheit, but it sounds like we both have a nice sunny day. Yes. Okay, data guys, 1 to 3, really awesome. Okay, all right, back to zero ETL. So I have questions whether what's happening. Let me know if you know, like what's happening if your source databases, so your RDS, change the column of the table. Is it automatically replicated, or we have to pre-configure it?
If you
I'm not exactly sure if we have that limitation, but there are certain considerations which we always need to keep in mind on that. But I will check that, and I can get back in few minutes of time in this call.
No worries. And then let's bring that to like a little bit high level, like what on the day to day, like what is when you see the customers, regardless like Oracle's or Postgres or MySQL using zero ETL, what type of use cases that is make sense for zero ETL? Prasad, if you
So, I mean, the use cases that we've seen is where customers have, the source databases which are OLTP, and they want to aggregate the data from different OLTP sources onto a common location, which is the warehouse for reporting. So that's where you have the data now flowing in near real time,
Yep.
to from the source to the target. So that what that would enable is to perform frequent, like the reporting on the from the warehouse could be,
Yeah.
at a much quicker pace. Uh, so for example, if you are doing those reportings, like at the end of the day, you could refresh it, since the data is available more in the near real time manner. You could have your queries run to get more recent data much quicker from your warehouse. That's one pattern where we see customers
Yeah.
using zero ETL from the source to the target. Yeah,
Okay.
and once the data is on the target as well, you have various analytical tools, through which you
Yes.
can use. So you can have you can use a quick site on top of the data to dashboard it as well. So there are various ways and means. And today we are going to talk about RDS for Oracle, but like what we earlier mentioned, this is available for the other engines as well. So you could have data across your data sources, say Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, and all of them would be replicating the data into a consolidated manner in your warehouse. And then you could, based on your business logic, join the data and generate those reports in your target.
Okay. Is it scale? Is it out to scale? This zero ETL.
Yeah, I mean, if the source is generating the data at a much faster
Yeah.
pace, then yes. I mean, you don't have to configure anything in terms of changing the instance. It's all a serverless pipeline which will be taken care.
Okay. And then how about the? I don't know if I can. How about the cost? Is it you pay like the source compute cost, or you pay the I don't know, target compute cost? Is it Redshift the one who do the heavy lifting to pull the data in, or
No, I think we'll have to check. I'll request Tony to just check and on the
okay,
costing part. But the source and the target are independent. What you're using here is a solution just to move the data in a serverless manner. So again,
okay,
we'll share more details in the chat. Yeah,
okay?
Tony.
Tony will find out about the costs. All right.
Just to
Let me.
add, like, no, regarding the cost thing,
Yep.
for
Yeah.
zero ETL, actually AWS does not charge an additional fee for zero ETL integration, but you will be paying for existing resources used to create and also to process the changed data created as part of the zero ETL integration.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then if there is more detailed documentation, I think Tony will
Yes.
will share it
Yeah.
in the chat. Okay. Let's break for a lot of question. If anyone have questions around this, please put in the chat, so we can learn together. Uh, okay, I'm gonna break the questions time for a demo. What exactly that we are gonna see in the demo, Prasad?
Yep. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think can share the screen. I will in the
Yeah.
demo. I will just before uh, I will just talk about the diagram so that it will be
Okay.
easy for.
Yep.
Yeah, is the screen shared?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see the
Okay.
diagram now.
Okay, what we are going to do today is we will show how to create zero ETL integration with the resources source and target. And on the high level, we will show, let's say, as you see in this architecture diagram, we
Yeah.
have our source RDS engine. In this case, we will be using RDS Oracle. And after that, we will also create the target Redshift serverless cluster, and using that, now we will be having our source RDS Oracle and the target Redshift serverless cluster, and then we will start creating the zero ETL integration. Then we will see how the flow works, the flow of creating from scratch, and also what are all
Yeah.
the stages involved in this creation and how much time it takes. Yeah, and we will see the how the integration ID is being created and what is the target and what is the source and how can we differentiate these components.
Okay, so we're gonna have a look how we set up zero ETL from RDS, Oracle RDS, running on RDS, with Redshift, particularly serverless. Just to
Yeah,
clarify, it works for both serverless and the managed Redshift, right? Provision cluster.
yeah, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, let's start with the demo.
Okay.
So for the purpose of the demo, like the broad steps are we'll be creating the source database, which is RDS for Oracle. We'll be creating the target database, which is the Redshift serverless, and then we'll be creating the integration between the source and the target, which will enable the data to flow from the source to the target. Now, as far as are there any changes that are needed for a few engines? Yes, so we would definitely recommend you to refer the documentations if any parameters in the parameter group needed to be changed prior to enabling it. But for RDS for Oracle, so there isn't any change that is needed on the source. So step one is creating the source database. So the I'm just going to run you through the process of creating the source.
Okay.
But yeah, so here you could select the RDS. Sorry, you can go ahead and select the engine as Oracle. This is an enterprise edition 19C database. For the purpose of the demo, I'll keep it to dev test. Then you can give your database the DB name out here,
Okay.
and the user. For the purpose of the demo, I will, yep, I will, yep, set this.
Okay. So at the moment, just creating the source databases.
The source databases.
RDS.
Then
Yeah.
you can set up the instance type on the source. This is where the source database would be running, and so since this is the test database that I'm creating this on,
Yeah.
again, this doesn't have a multi-agent deployment, but for your production, uh, yeah, you please do follow the best practices, and you can create the multi-easy setup as well. uh, I would
Okay.
leave the other settings to as is. Please ensure that as a best practice from a security perspective as well, uh, please set the public access to no. And yeah, in the additional configuration, the DB port is 1521, and the monitoring, you can enable the monitoring, the enhanced monitoring, as well as you could have the logs published.
Okay.
Then these are logs on the RDS engine, like you can view
Yeah.
them, and you could give a name, uh, and then you'll enable the backups, and I think that's about it. And then you can hit the create database. So this is just creating the source. Now for the purpose of this
Okay.
demo, because this would take around 10 to 15 minutes, I have created the demo, the database on the source, which is the ORCL ZETL. Yep. So
But
this
just
Mhm.
sorry, Prasad. Just to highlight, like the when you're creating the data sources, which is database, there is nothing specific to zero ETL at this point, right? It's just like a normal creating the
Correct.
database.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Okay.
is absolutely like the normal database that we create
Okay.
with those. So there are no specific zero ETL changes until this point in time. Okay, so this is the source. Similarly, you could go ahead and create the target, which is Redshift serverless. Uh, okay, then you could create a work group.
And I presume this is the same with Redshift. That
Yeah.
is, this is just like a normal Redshift cluster creations. There is nothing changed yet for like configure zero ETL.
No, there is no change as far as the zero ETL. This is a standard way of in which you can create your Redshift cluster.
And just to reiterate, if you missed it, you can use serverless. You can use the Redshift provision cluster. Both works the same for zero ETL.
Yep, yep. So those are the standard ways. Again, for the purpose of the demo, this will take uh, around two
Yeah.
three minutes. But for the purpose of the demo, we've created a Redshift target cluster as well, which is that which ZETL demo. You know, so we have the source,
Okay.
we have the target. Now it's about linking the source and the target via the zero ETL integration. Okay, so that's where you can either start from here, where you can create a zero ETL integration, or if you hover on the left hand side, there's a zero ETL integrations tab here as well. Just
So
go
we are
here.
back in RDS, and then there is the
Yep,
list of capabilities on the left. Okay.
correct. Or like we looked at the engine itself. If you look at the database,
Yep.
there's a tab here about the zero ETL integrations. You
Okay.
can start it from here. Okay, so you could yeah, you could just mention the test. See,
Okay.
you name the data. Your integration, then you browse the database. So in this case, it's the zero ETL demo. I choose the database, and then I could I have to include the source and the target patterns. So this is the include exclude. So in the include is where let me go. Oops.
Okay.
Give me one moment. What I'm looking out for is DB name. So I'll come to the configuration section, and so the DB name is ZETL. I think we created a schema called as what was the schema? It was geometry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Dot star. So this is the pattern. So everything under this schema would need to be replicated from the source to the target.
Okay.
Again, you could have an exclude pattern as well. So, for example, if there was a table in this schema which you do not want to replicate, for example, the sal table, you could exclude this as well.
Okay. So we can actually configure for like table level, but if you want like the whole schema to be copied, you put like dot star after the
Yep.
schema. If it's the whole database you want to be copied, you can put just the database name and dot star, which is
Yeah.
it means like all the schema within that database will be copied to the target.
Yeah, that's correct. So you have the various include exclude patterns that you can follow out here. So here we are replicating everything in that schema, excluding the one table. Yeah,
Okay.
and then uh, so you could so here is where now you select your target. Now the target can be in your own account, or it could be in a different account as well, where you set up the Redshift cluster.
Yeah.
So for the purpose of this demo, we have everything that's set up in this same account.
Oh, you can do cross account, I assume then.
Yep.
Like your Redshift cluster could be in a different account and your RDS in another account, and you can still do zero ETL.
Yeah, that's correct. So this is the target, and then yeah, I'll
Okay.
just progress ahead with it. It's all the KMS is required to encrypt it, or you can use the default AWS own keys.
Okay.
And then this is the final review stage where all of this information is listed. Again, please do check before you hit the create, about if you have if you have any specific data filtering patterns. Just
Yeah.
ensure that you've included all of them, and then you hit the create. Uh, yeah. So this is the
Okay.
source, and this is the target.
Okay.
Go ahead and create the data. Now this generally takes some time. So if you see this,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, this is like the one-time data copy. If you have 100 records in that, or if you have say 10 tables in that schema, they are all going to be copied over one time from your source to the target. Now,
So when you say like you create, is actually creating that integration and also move whatever data,
moving
the
data, yeah,
seeding data that you mentioned
correct.
to okay.
Yeah, so it can take around 15 to 20 minutes now, depending
No,
upon
it's yeah.
the amount of data that you have from your source to the target. So this this is going to take some time, uh, as the data is going to get copied over.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Uh, so
And
let's.
there's nothing else that we have to set up in the target, or we should like I don't know, permission is important, or we should allow RDS to write to Redshift or vice versa.
So there is an integration pattern that's needed. Again, let me go to this one. Yeah, we'll cover that into details, like a part about the authorized principle.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, just give us.
And just on top of that, when we are creating this zero ETL integration for, let's say, for example, one of the things is the having this authorized principles. So let's say if
Yeah.
it is not configured, if we have not configured it before, it will ask us if the RDS, if you want the RDS to fix it before you click create zero ETL integration button. So it can fix it automatically in the backend, and after that, you should not leave the screen actually at that point of time while it is fixing it at the backend. And once it is fixed, then you should be able to click create zero ETL integration button. Then it should proceed.
Oh, like when you show this demo, Prasad, you already create all this authorization policy and so on. That's why it's not asking you
Yeah.
for
So
that
let me
permission setup.
uh, go through the new database. Some of it has already been done. So I think what Petri was mentioning is this part. Uh, it's the source name. Yeah.
So like whatever IAM role needed will be created behind the scene automatically. Let's see.
So let's look at this one, which is a new Redshift creator. Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
see this,
This
Yeah.
is what I was talking about. So since it has some resource policy, and also there is a case sensitivity parameter value which needs to be set. So
yeah,
if we have not done that before itself, then we get this option of fix it for me. Then if you choose that and click next, automatically it runs in the background. Can you please click and
yep,
do next?
sure. So all of these, fixing the
Hmm.
resource policy and case sensitivity is all handled here. So this is what it's going to perform, where it's going to enable the case sensitivity, and it is going to set this parameter true at the target.
Okay. Can you explain a bit more in the case sensitivity? What does that mean? Why we need to be aware of that thing?
No, that is we need to set it on to give the support of the source tables and columns to match it with the target redshift, and that's the reason we are setting it to turning it to on.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the way in which the data dictionary is written in Oracle, the source and the target can be different. So, for example, if by default, if I don't specify anything, everything is stored in caps. Okay, but if I
Okay.
double quote it and write Prasad as P as capital and the rest as small, then you need to handle this case sensitivity while it does propagate to the target. So those are the things that are done in the background. So if you see the case sensitivity in the target is being enabled, and the resource policy, so that the source is able to update the target, is all being done in the background.
Oh, okay. If there's a mismatch, if you click, I mean, you enable that, it will automatically update in it. You don't have to do it manually.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's what, like, once it is fixed here, then we go to the next screen, and then
Yeah,
we'll
this is very
create the integration, right? So this is one thing. And after this, once the integration is
Yep.
created, we will be have to create the database in the target Redshift, so that your data from your source database will be replicated in your target database. So that is a step. You can either directly log in into the serverless, Redshift, and then create the database using the integration ID which we have created. Otherwise,
Okay.
we can directly create the database in the target Redshift through the zero-ETL integration console itself.
Yep.
Okay. So when you create the zero ETL itself, it hasn't created that target database yet.
Yes. So once the integration is set up, then we need to create the database at the end of the
Oh,
integration
okay.
itself.
And then by that time, then the data can be flowing from copied from the source to the
So
target, which is Redshift in this case.
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Well, while you're showing that the demo, Tony
yeah.
shares some informations.
I'm not going to go
Okay.
over like creating
Yeah,
one more
as it
because
takes
yeah.
time,
No
but
worries.
we will see from the Redshift cluster about the existing squad.
Oh yeah. So what we can also do is, since this zero ETL now is getting created,
Yeah.
we could go over to the Redshift cluster. Let me see if I have a screen already. No. So let's go over the Redshift cluster, and I think it was okay. Yeah, I think we just one minute. We did replicate like just before the
Yeah, since it takes time, we will not be able to wait until it gets created and replicated. So we already done the setup in a different environment. Similarly, source RDS Oracle and target Redshift, and with the created the zero-ETL integration, and also we started replicating it.
yeah
So this is one of the example where we have included under the database
Yeah.
called ORCL ZETL
yeah
ZETL Red, that is the target database name created in the Redshift, and we are replicating the user called Scott, and we are replicating a particular table from the user called Scott, and the table name is EMP, and that is the data which you are seeing in the screen. Can you
yeah
please
yeah
move? Yeah,
yeah.
this is the data which is
Okay.
replicated from the source RDS Oracle to the target Redshift,
Yeah. So this
and
is the
yeah,
just to just to mention that once the integration gets completed, you can query this to get some information about what is the integration. Now we've already created that, and then we've used the same integration to create a database which is
Okay.
zero ETL red from
Yeah.
this integration source. Okay, and once this is completed, we can go ahead and then query the database to see that the tables have been replicated from your source to the target. And this is an example where we're just showing you that the source information has, this is the Oracle source information which has
Yeah.
got replicated to the target. But this information about the integration only comes up after this process completes after 15 minutes to half an hour, and it's one time.
and also it depends on the size of your source database, as how, depending upon how big it is, it takes that much of time.
Okay. I'll post that and just share like if anyone pay attention in the chat. Tony share resources, documentation for pricing that I'm just talking about, and also relevant documentation, particularly for the zero ETL and
Mhm.
Redshift in, I believe this IAM, it means like authorization policy and so on, and also the generic documentation for you to actually create a zero ETL.
Yep.
Uh, and then if you miss all of those links, don't worry, we will have it in our show notes as well. Mm, let's see. There is a data guy underscore 123. Looks simple enough to set up. I'll give it a try. Yes, please do,
Yep.
and let us know and share with us like how it is going. Victor. Hello, hello. If you miss after the shows, there will be on demand, Victor. So have a look and put a comment in the show notes if you want. There's a question actually from data guy underscore 123.
Yep.
Can you exclude columns or is it just tables? We talk about like exclude schema and then exclude specific tables, but can you just exclude the columns itself?
Uh,
We can show the options
yeah.
we created.
Yeah. I think
It
we.
has it has both
Yeah.
include and exclude expression.
Yeah. Let's look at this. No, that's a great question. Let's quickly look.
Yeah. So we saw before we definitely can exclude table or schema or even the higher level, but the very granular level, what is the most granular
Yeah. So
things that
if I
we can
understand
exclude?
this, it's about excluding a column whilst replicating it. So let's try this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get into that, it will show us what are the filters we can use, including column filters and also the other basic filters samples with the syntax.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
Mm,
you could. Yeah. So there are column filters where you could, reject a specific column in the table.
okay.
There is a way in which you can reject like any row. Or
Okay.
so
So you
this is
can
more, yeah.
filter out columns and also specific rows.
I think this is specific rows based on it's matching for that
Yes.
column. So let me check if uh, column filters. Yeah, I think we need to check if a column itself can be excluded.
On this one is like filtering by rows. Is it that only specific data with, I don't know, the
Yeah,
column has specific value and then we can exclude it, but not
correct.
reject
So
the column itself.
uh, yeah, that's correct. So this is a specific, a row is getting excluded based on the column value. So if the column value is reject, that specific row is getting excluded. So this is like copying a subset of the data set, but I
Yes.
think it's still copying all the columns over from the source to the target. Uh, but yeah,
I guess that will be useful, right? Because let's say, I don't know, I know like customer have maybe multiple different specific schema or data warehouse for a region, for example. You have one OLTP and then you just one particular data set from the US, for example, going to the US databases and then Asia going to different databases. So you can do the zero ETL instead of copy everything to one big like tables. You already separate it into different table when you do the zero ETL.
yep, I agree
Mm,
with you. That would be useful in case of scenarios where you are moving the data across various sources and then you want to drop a few columns because those shouldn't be replicated onto the target. Um, but yeah,
But as of now, as we speak, even though we are seeing this format and these options,
hmm
currently we can filter up, which is only from the database level and also from the table level. But if we want to really filter at the row level, it is not supported as of now. But
it is sorry, Karen.
Yeah, but if you are having a use case like join certain tables from two or more different source databases, then data filtering, you can use it in the code. Or you can also, for example, to save cost by performing some analytical query using only a subset of tables instead of the entire fleet of databases, and to filter out some sensitive information. So for those, we can use the data filters in the code, but as of now, currently the filtering is limited to the database and table level, and column and row level filtering are not supported as we
Is it
speak.
particularly the Oracle engine or
In general,
this
in
in
general.
general as retail? So there's a that's relevant to the comment like from data guy underscore the tree is still really useful for things like dropping
Yeah.
extremely sensitive
Sensitive
data. So
data,
no way
yeah.
data goes to my data warehouse. Yes, that's right. And but there is other mechanism as well that you can use when your data is going data warehouse to like limit in data warehouse side and Redshift side. You have like dynamic data masking and so on to make sure all those copied there, but like you limit who is going to access that data and then let people access the presentation layer instead of the raw data that you copy from your zero-ETL integrations.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, these are the basic filters that you can apply. Okay.
And yeah, that is true. And also, I agree that it will be a good use case if we have
Yeah.
that filter of that. And I'm sure in future we can expect. But as of now, again, using the existing database or table level or schema level filtering, we'll be able to, as I mentioned just a few seconds before, it will be easy instead of replicating the complete fleet of schema or complete fleet of tables. It will be easy for us to fetch the data from a particular schema or particular table from two different sources and put it in as like one source in one table like that.
Okay. Any other part that you want to show on the demo side?
No, I mean, the demo side, again, like I mentioned, the integration creation is in progress. So we wanted to show the users how, the audience as how we create the source, the target, and how easy is it to set up the replication. And then in case if you have some steps that are, on the source or the target, which are not configured or in place, you also have an option where it's a fix it for me. So it does give you these are the changes that are going to be applied on the source and the target, and you can checkbox that, or you can manually go ahead and fix those changes on the source and the target. And that's how the replication gets started. It's only the initial part where the data is getting copied, which takes time. After that, it's like the change data capture that moves from the source to the target. And when the data is copied, uh, you would when your integration is
Yeah.
complete and the data is copied, you would definitely see an integration ID. So you create a database, and that's where you'll be able to see your replicated data. So I know it takes time, so we had pre-created or just replicated a subset of data. But yeah,
And I would like to add few things from the monitoring perspective. Like after we have done this zero ETL
Yeah.
integration, how do we monitor and how can I know whether it is syncing or what it is doing in the backend, right?
Yeah.
So one thing, there are multiple ways to do the monitoring. One is from the console itself when we see the zero ETL integration and we get into the choose your integration. And then from there, you will be able to see what type of statuses, because there are multiple statuses. Let's say when you are creating the zero ETL integration, it will give you the creating status. And then when the integration is sending the transactional data to the target Redshift or data warehouse, it will be showing as an
Okay.
active status. And let's say if the integration is syncing back, it will be giving you the syncing status. And if there is any issue where the manual intervention is needed to resolve the problem, it will give you the status of needs attention. And if the integration is failed for some reason, it will be showing the failed status. And when you are deleting, so as Prasad is showing now, when you're creating, it's creating and other statuses. So that is one way. And apart from that, also have certain tables in the target Redshift. For example, as Prasad was showing, the SVV integration table, which will show
Okay.
you the integration ID and your source database information. and target database information, and also what is the engine and what is its lag and how many tables, depending upon how many tables or what is the configuration you have done, what is its replicated state. So you will be able to see all these information in those tables. And on top of this SVB integration table, there are
Yeah.
other tables also, which is the table state and the table state change and the integration activity. So there like this multiple tables to monitor what is happening in this integration. And
Okay.
apart from this, there is also you can integrate it with Amazon Event Bridge to monitor the from the Redshift side. You can see the zero ETL integration event notifications using the Amazon Event Bridge. So these are all the ways from the monitoring perspective. Based on a requirement, we can configure it.
Okay. Is there any dashboard that built in, or that is we have the build customization dashboard, like to see, for example, like okay, there is like 5 rows being replicated, or maybe 100 rows sometimes.
When you go into the ETL configuration console, you will
Yeah.
be able to see the monitoring tab, which will have certain limited metrics, which will show
Okay.
the number of tables replicated and what are the number of tables configured with that integration. Yeah.
Oh, I think that one, right? View in CloudWatch.
But this
Uh,
is for the
Now,
yeah, this is for
if
the
you
that's just
go
for
store.
into the
database.
integration
Yeah, yeah,
configuration console,
yeah,
if you go into one of the integration, the older one,
yeah. I think this is
This
being created
so
now.
the monitoring, but I can't remember which one in your specific demo. Um.
So this is the source and the target that we're talking about.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So ideally, if we bring having zero ETL for monitoring resilience, perspective, reliability perspective, we need to create, if it's like critical databases, we have to create the integration with the, like even bridge dimensions. So put an alarm if something's not, for example, like delayed, or even like if it's stop and there's something goes wrong, so we can get notified straight away, right? I
Yeah.
assume that will be the best
If
practices.
we configure it with the notifications, then yes, we will be able to see whenever the notification or status is changing, and we can get notified to act on it.
Okay. Malas, anyone have any questions? Any from the listener or audience? If you have one more questions for Prasad and Retrieval, please put in the chat. We have the last like 5 minutes, I guess, to answer the questions. Uh, what my last questions while waiting for the others, if still want to ask the questions. So, um,
Mhm.
oh, there is a question, so I will let the questions. Data work guy underscore 123. How easy is it to monitor if it is in sync? Uh, can you elaborate a bit more? Source source to Redshift, is
Oh,
that
Yeah, so there is a way in which you can check the lag in the SVB integration tab view as well. Like when you query the integration status, there is a way in which you can directly look up for the lag. So that information is readily uh, available there.
okay? It's asking like, is it like 10 minutes behind or 1 hour?
No, it's
Uh,
no, as far as you know, only the first part of it is the initial copy, which is the seeding takes time. After that, it's like in a few seconds. So the moment the transaction completes on the source or is committed on the source, it is in near real time replicated onto the target, and it's available in the target. So it isn't like minutes or hours, unless if there is any if anything is broken or if there are any issues, then you can see the replication come up.
okay, and there is that a CloudWatch metric? I think this is the lag that you talk about,
yeah.
Prasad.
Then
Is
if
it
you can go into
built
the
in?
one Redshift console, please.
Uh, just give me 1 minute. Let me share my screen again.
No worries.
Yeah. Uh, okay.
I'll put it on the stage.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
Are you sharing your screen?
mhm.
Yeah, can you click the zero ETL integration over there, please?
Okay.
Yeah, can you click
Okay.
old integrations?
Let's look at this one.
Can
Okay.
you please scroll down? Yeah. So this is one of the metrics which you can see from the Redshift cluster side, the number of tables depending upon the configuration, if it's replicated and what is the lag and the number of tables failed, you will be able to see it from this screen. And also you can see the table statistics, what is the schema name and the table name and what is the status, whether it is in sync or this is the statuses which I was talking about, whether it is in failed or active and whether it is in sync state. So we will be able to monitor in the console from the console itself.
Okay, then I think that sounds sort of answering your last questions, data guys. So I can set the alerts if you go 1 hour behind, normally 10 seconds. Yes,
Yep.
it's not, I assume it's not built in, but you can build it on top of it. Then leverage that event bridge and maybe like
Yep.
SNS to notify to your email. Uh, what else? Okay, great. I can create alarm. Yes, you can
Yep.
create alarm for this.
Yeah, you can create alarms.
Thank you very much. I think we are reaching the top of the hour. Uh, Thank you very much, Prasad and Retrieval. For the audience, don't forget to tune in the same time, which is Monday, 4 p.m. British summer time. We have still in the database topic, though. We're going to talk about PostgreSQL, especially talking about open source. What is the advantage of open source databases? We'll be with Tony as the host. He will be back on the screen with Paula and Siki. Thank you very much, Prasad. Thank you very much, Patripo. Thank you very much, everyone who joining today. See you
Yep.
all again next week, same time.
Yeah.
Take
Yep.
Thank
care.
Thanks
you,
a lot.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you. Bye.
bye.